How do ebooks and physical books coexist? Well, I want to answer that question before I get into reviewing the actual writing piece about this essay. I'm going to briefly explain what is peer reviewing. So, peer reviewing is basically reading someone else's work. And this process takes reading and analyzing what the writer is trying to convey, and as well as having some constructive critiques about it. You get to write whatever you want. And with my outline, I'm going to break it up by paragraph. And then I'm going to have a nice little evaluation of what went well, what went wrong, some improvements, overall thoughts, and final thoughts. So let's get into the analysis. How ebooks and physical books coexist. I'm going to interpret what I believe the title is going to be about, and I said the title could make the reader wonder about how ebooks and physical books impact people as readers and non readers. So that's what I believe this essay will be about. So I'm going to break down I'm going to break this down by paragraphs and critique it. In an age where human beings are chronically online, many consumers have been wondering if there is still room for physical books to thrive in this new reality for books. When the digital revolution came, many were scared that ebooks would overtake physical books in popularity and take the spot of the top from of media. Instead, from the looks of it, they are both here to stay. So, the hook brings a question whether physical books would still be around or would ebooks take over. And the writer mentions about a digital revolution, which is a interesting topic to mention. Like, I wonder if the writer's actually going to talk about that a little bit more about the digital revolution. And then there is a typo, and it's like with booth, it's supposed to be both, but I understand. And the thesis expresses optimism, where it says, when the digital revolution came anywhere were scarce. Da, 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 da. So, the digital revolution has brought on a tsunami of ways to read all forms of medium. In fact, Tim Bargan says, but with an e-reader, I can now carry up to 1,000 books in something the size of a paperback book and have more books at my disposal than I could ever imagine. An interpretation of this quote is that ebooks have made major waves on bookworms and normal people alike. Most importantly, kids. They have also made easier for kids that are starting to read. Also, from experience, having both ebooks and physical books can help kids with dyslexia who have trouble reading small fonts normally found in physical books. With ebooks, you are able to adjust the font size, which makes it easier to keep track of where they are in the book, and it's easier to understand the words. Once they are proficient at reading on ebooks, you can start to transition generations not read who may not read or just don't read a lot, such as kids who um, grow up online and may not have had the opportunity to read physical books. All ebooks have the unique opportunity to reach out to new young generations who want to read but don't have access to physical books. So that was a lot to uncover. So I do have some critiques and also some things that I noticed that I might have not caught on to from previous reads. So I really like the analogy referencing the digital revolution, where the writer compares the digital revolution to a tsunami, how it's just taking storm, and I really like the analogy. There's great citations with the quotes that the writer uses, and the writer does come strong on ebooks' impact on reading. Really good, very, very amazing. Um, Somewhere in one of the sentences that I felt like was like kind of wordy slash kind of not hard to understand, but there it's just some unnecessary words. So it says, most importantly, kids, they have also made easier for kids that are starting to read. So I caught three things that were wrong with it. So number one was repetition with mentioning kids. I understand what the writer was trying to say, but just repeating it, it was like it just made it not make as much sense. Number two was, who is they referring to? Like, are you? What is the writer referring to? The companies, or let's see. Hold up, please. Let's see. Mostly. I'm losing my place. Mostly. Hold up. I have it right here. So, most importantly, kids, they also have made easier. Yeah, like the companies, the bookstores, like who in particular made reading easier. And then number three, it's just weirdly phrased. I believe uh after kids. Yes, so after kids, you could just put a period and made they have also made easier for kids that are starting to read its own sentence, or like just reword it in a way. So that's my opinion. um Also, the writer was able to relate reading experience as someone who has dyslexia, so I saw it as a world to self connection. That's really good. And let's see, you. And also, there's plenty of second person pronouns of you in the paragraph. And when you're writing a essay, you want to avoid second person pronouns at all cost. And let's see if I can find them. Yeah, with ebooks you are able to. Uh, I'll say just change the they. And then there's another you in here. Oh yeah. So once they are proficient at reading on ebooks, let's see. Do I want to say they again? Yeah. I would just change it to they again and delete them because you have they in there. It wouldn't be necessary having them. And then add a comma after said, right before the quotation marks. When you have when you're about to cite something, cite evidence, you want to have that comma on there. Um, so yeah. There's also a double space, and there's also a weak word, which is just. So delete just, because just would it's just it's a weak word. It would make sense without that word. So yeah. And then right here, where it says ebooks are a way to reach out to the newer generations who may not read, period, delete or just don't read a lot. And then its concluding sentence is amazing. About all ebooks have the unique opportunity to reach out to new young generations who want to read, but generations or the future, you know. Yeah. So this paragraph is still tied to the first main idea. So yeah, I might not have as much to say, but I'll point it out if I have anything to say. So here we go. While the online age brought a revolution of ways to read online, there are still the cult classics of physical books. Okay, so it is switching the perspective to physical books. So, yes, that's what this paragraph is about. In ebooks versus physical, the great debate, Martin Russell, ebooks permit too many distractions and tempt your focus away from the text. An interpretation of this quote is that physical books are a true classic that feeling you get and sit down with a nice drink and a good book like none other. Another plus side with physical books is when you sit down and read it, it's easier to block out distractions and just focus on the story on the book you are reading. On the other hand, for those who read with an e-reader, it is so much harder to focus on what you are reading because your eyes find it easier to wander because of the screen brightness. Martin Russell said, ebooks do not have a clear path of ownership, and even the retailer who sells the books doesn't own the book. Rather, the publishers have his own licensing agreement with its agents. Also, when it comes to ebooks, it is more complicated in terms of ownership because the retailer, it is easier to know who owned the book at what time. So, what I can say, yeah. So what I can say, so it's like comparing and contrasting a little bit. That's what I'm seeing. Um, it picks up on how ebooks you're like tempted to get distracted, lose focus, and all that stuff. Whereas for physical books, you're more likely to focus on what's on the page and all that. And what else? And also ownership of about the books, how ebooks are it's like it's not like very clear, um, and then physical books, like who owned it and at what time. All right, ebooks have a rare opportunity to let people who don't have a lot of space to read, but there are lots of downsides. It says in the case for choosing a physical book over a digital reader. On the other hand, while reading on a screen, what we actually tend to do is that we skim, we word, spot, we browse, we scroll, and in that very act, even though it gives us more information more quickly, it actually disadvantages the slower, deeper processing of language. Ebooks show the consumer that by reading online that they are they are not fully experiencing what the book has to truly offer the consumer. By reading an ebook, you just scan through the text and not truly understand the text. There's some repetition in that sentence. An interpretation of this quote is that when reading an ebook, your eyes do this funny thing by just absorbing the main info and skip over the smaller information. In doing so, we are not understanding the true meaning behind the author's intent for the theme of the book. Lopez Escribano says, despite the positive outcomes of ebook reading, a number of researchers have taken a more critical view on ebooks due to their incorporation of features such as hotspots that contain animation, sound, and other multimedia effects and may distract young readers from the story content and negatively affect their understanding of the story's main theme. When consumers read on their phones, there are so many distractions that it is very difficult to read and understand what they are reading. Some people listen to music when they read to have an easier time focusing on what they're reading. When reading on an electronic device, you can easily do something else like being on social media or watching videos. A problem with young people reading on their phones is that those people have some of the shortest attention spans. All right. So the topic sentence takes a sneak peek into some negative aspects that about ebooks. So I really liked the transition from the first point about why ebooks are good, and then there is a double space right there between N and the in the second line, and I'll say add a comma after reader because once again I'm about to introduce a quote. And I'll say the choice of the writer made with these citations was well thought about. I really appreciate that. And also with this paragraph, it reminds me of social media and how we could just be on there and distract ourselves doing it. And And what it really stands out, and like made me think about like, wow, this ebooks, this kind of tie up to social media somehow. I don't know if the writer uh intended that analogy in some sort, but if the writer did, like that's amazing. And talks about how ebooks does not give readers the full experience. So like they are potentially missing out on something. They're not giving the full message, giving social media vibes, definitely giving social media vibes in this paragraph, that people are so quick to only take a glance and get the bigger picture. So they're not getting the bigger picture. That's what the writer's trying to say. So yeah. So great comparisons, like real world stuff. So yeah, so delete we. So that's right here. And it says, in doing so, we are not understanding the true meaning. Like whenever you're writing an essay, do not use first person pronouns unless it's a personal narrative. This is not a personal narrative, so do not have any first person or second person pronouns at all times. Do not. Just don't do it. And then change it to they. Have a comma after says, because about to introduce a quotation. And then it has focusing on what they are reading. I found that like kind of weird how the writer worded it. So okay, so yes, focusing on what they are reading. Just change it to focus. It'll make sense like that. So some people listen to music when they read to have an easier time, or just focusing. Like yeah, okay. And also what they are reading, just so you know, like it was said in the previous sentence, so there was some repetition as well. And then delete you and replace it with someone. So it'll be, when reading on an electronic device, someone can easily do something else, like be on social media or watching videos. And in the last sentence, a problem with young people, it just has this inconsistency. Okay, so you say young people, say the younger generation, just have consistency with the essay. So yeah. But also I wish that the reader explained a little bit more about attention span, because it was definitely mentioned. I wanted some sort of um some sort of explanation of how it affects the attention span, for like the downsides on ebooks. So now we're getting to the third body paragraph. On the other hand, there are physical books which have a multitude of downsides. Unfortunately, because of society's mass consumerism and unchecked industry, our forests are being destroyed at a rate that is not only alarming, it's catastrophic. Even though reading physical books are better for your eyes, they are also much easier to focus on. They also have one of the most devastating downsides in that they cause massive deforestation. Plus, in this age, consumerism have caused all the big companies to use any and all resources at their disposal to make more money. These companies don't care what is right for the environment or the world. They just do whatever they can to make the most profit. According to 2023 data from the Literary Industry Research Group, where it's rated, when it comes to Holt and Heeper, print books publishing is the world's third largest industrial greenhouse gas emitter, and 32 million trees are felled each year in the United States to make paper for books. Then there's the printing and shipping, to say nothing of the many books that are destroyed because they remain unsold. Even though reading physical books have so many benefits, there are still a lot of drawbacks. For example, the greenhouse gas that is caused by the manufacturing of the books and transportation of them. Some publishers have started to donate books to try not to destroy those books and cause more greenhouse gases. So, so the topic sentence is going over the downsides of physical books. And about the first quote used, I'm not too sure about that quote. At first I said it wasn't understandable. Until I read through it, it was understandable. So, there is a double space after where even is, I believe. Um, there there is a double space. I like the point that the writer made about physical books are easier for the eyes to focus. So, unlike ebooks, which can lead to distractions by us going on social media and affecting like our eyes because of the screens, like books are easier for us to focus on. And then there's also a mention of how physical books harm the environment. Um, So it was an interesting point. Like, yeah, how we make books, we make the paper out of trees, so that's very understandable. That refreshed my memory. I'll say that. And then further supports claim that companies only care about for the money. Yeah, these days, like book companies are trying to figure out how they're going to try to make the most money, and that is definitely true. That is definitely true. And then the writer also mentions how physical books negatively impact the earth. And then the concluded sentence keeps it open ended and something to consider as well. Like, what are we doing? Like, some publishers starting to donate books, like, so they don't have to destroy them. It makes me think about the book bans that are going on in certain states, how they are selling the books for way cheaper prices, so they don't have to destroy the books, and that would cause the greenhouse gases. So yes, and then the last body paragraph before we get to the conclusion. Even though ebooks and hardback books have their downsides, both of them can live in this day and age. So this is the counter argument. Abigail Ellis says, Koshet et al. Found that experienced readers knew exactly when and why they chose to read things digitally instead of in print, and with one exception, none of them have stopped reading print books altogether. Even though a ton of consumers have switched ebooks, a lot of people still love the cult classic of having physical books. It is true that ebooks did take the world by storm, but a lot of consumers have a physical copy of the books because people love the look of a physical library. These people love to read on a tablet, but they still enjoy reading a physical book. Abigail Ellis also says, Koshet et al.'s research indicates that ebooks and printed books do exist together successfully and even complement each other. Ebooks, for the moment, don't appear to be taking over the print industry and leaving printed books behind. If anything, they have created a more versatile experience for readers to modify how they read to best fit their needs. This quote shows that even though ebooks have become a favorite among consumers and very popular among younger generations, but among those younger generations, there are many who still love to read physical books. Even though ebooks are rising in popularity to become a top contender for ways to read, many consumers still believe that physical books still have a spot at the top for ways to read. So, the topic sentence goes towards the brightest side for ebooks and physical books. So, like I said, this is the counter argument. This is how they can work together. I would add a comma after says right before the quote starts. And then there is another double space. Yes, there is another double space somewhere. Lowercase the c in consumers. Consumers is not a proper noun. and then I would add a comma after storm because there is a fanboy, and the fanboy is but. I really love the analogy. Once again, the writer tells us that yes, that ebooks took the world by storm and all that, but it doesn't mean that physical books have been like left in the dust. So I love that analogy. And I would also add a comma after tablet because right before or after that word is but, so just put that comma and then capitalize the T in this, so it's after the citation and it's towards the bottom. That's a simple fix, but it's also in that same sentence. It is a incomplete sentence. I'll read it really quick. And this quote shows that even though ebooks have become a favorite among consumers and very popular among younger generations, like what about it? I just thought that was an incomplete sentence. I'm like, but the concluding sentence ends with a bang. I'll read it because it's one of my favorite sentences in the essay. Even though ebooks are rising in popularity to become a top contender for ways to read, many consumers still believe that physical books still have a spot at the top for ways to read. And then the conclusion. So, in conclusion, the new technological revolution is here, and it came for the physical books and had ebooks as their replacement, but instead they found peace through the hardships. So I just add a comma after conclusion and then another comma after replacement and but. And then I really like the wrap up is short, simple, sweet, boom.
What went well? Okay, so this is my evaluation. So what went well? So each topic sentence led to supporting details to make points stronger, capability to relate with all the audience, analogies that expanded the topic in deeper levels, discussing both sides of physical and ebooks, and avoiding bias. Really appreciate that. And choice of quotes build up details. What went wrong? So some things that might not have worked with the essay was small grammar errors that are easy fixes, and then wordy slash unnecessary sentences, and there were some first and second person pronouns. Few typos, that's easy fix, and then some repetition. What needs improvement is read over writing to catch the small things. And I'll say even whenever I read it, there were some things I didn't catch. I was like, I thought I caught that. I'm like, did it look like it? Also avoiding first and second person pronouns in essays, and then minimize repetition. So, unless it's intentional. So, my overall thoughts about it is that this was a really good essay. The writer was able to execute how ebooks and physical books are able to coexist with one another. They had amazing quotes to support their evidence and further uh, enhance their arguments as well. Enjoyed it. My final thoughts is the writer has done a wonderful job executing in their writing that ebooks and physical books can coexist with each other with their ups and downsides and how it impacts people uh like in society as a whole. And I was able to learn so much from it and take ebooks and physical books and another perspective that I never thought was possible. And I want you to comment below what do you enjoy about this essay, and like what can you take away from books in general, and also what you think about the peer review analysis. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.